Hey guys, and welcome back to Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. As always, I'm DemonFire93, and last time we finished off the investigation for the 5th class trial of the murder of Nagito, and today we're going to start the trial.
Now then, let's begin with during I'll punish everyone
We already know all this.
Oh my! Monokuma? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you?
Wait, she's not tied up for this one.
You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit?
What?
Chesto!
He still kicks her ass.
One more time!
She's not giving up.
Jeez! How about this one? This will be my final blow!
He did another aura.
It's useless.
Man.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monokuma.
That Monokuma's just pummeling her.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monokuma. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who is attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake.
Yeah, I feel that's gonna come into play, obviously.
Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
Clearly it has to be the traitor that killed him.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
No, that might not be it.
No?
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Remember, so I had 2 different theories on this last time. I do remember that. Fuyuhiko was the one who was supposed to investigate the 5th island, and that's where the bombs were found. So he could have gone to Nagito and said, "Nagito, I'm the traitor," if he is. And then Nagito would have been like, "Okay, thanks, Fuyuhiko. The bombs are on the 5th island in the factory." And then Fuyuhiko tortured him that way in order to get him to tell him that. I don't know how much, Nagito has in the way of fortitude to withstand torture. He's a high school student after all. Do you know any high school students that could withstand all that torture that Nagito did without saying what he ended up telling, probably? Or my second thought was Sonia, because Sonia was supposed to search the central island, and she herself was on the 5th island. So she may not have investigated them, and instead went and told Nagito, "I am the traitor," and then, went and tied him up or attacked him, set him up for death.
Don't say something so stupid! There's no way in hell I'm the traitor!
I don't think it's Kazuichi.
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
Yeah, the traitor and the killer who murdered Nagito is here, right? Are they the same person? Or... Oh boy. Make your argument. I don't know. I have no idea what to start with. Let's hear what they have to say, and I'll find out if there's a...
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
Well, my timer's going down.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito!
So
that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him?
So my timer still is going down.
Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko!
Yeah.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Okay. Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place?
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
Survival knife
The
or
reason
duct tape?
Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
That's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
The duct tape. How could they get any
Nagito's mouth was
information?
covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything.
That's true. So how would he have been covered in duct tape? And there was no blood under the duct tape, so that proves that the duct tape was there before the blood happened.
If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
But of course, they could have just stabbed him in the leg. Like your blood doesn't splatter if you're stabbing yourself in the leg. It wouldn't splatter all the way up to your mouth if you're laying down like that. It probably wouldn't splatter that far, I don't think. So, I mean, if they were started torturing him by stabbing him in the leg repeatedly, it's like, come on, Nagito, tell me! And then he went, okay, here it is. And then they went, okay, thanks, duct tape. And then, like, here's the setup to kill you, bye-bye!
I'm prepared.
Oh, boy. Here comes our first rebuttal.
Ah, I just realized it. It's a trap.
Thanks, Admiral Akbar.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
Sure. Stupid. Oh, don't do this shit again. I don't know. Burned rope. I don't know. Sure.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
Sure.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention. This is how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about. Then, after they killed him.
Sorry. Okay,
Damn
fine. He's gonna go back to the original topic.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Okay.
Pay attention. This is how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut.
I have no idea. I have no fucking clue.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Am I really gonna just have to say duct
Pay
tape?
attention. This is how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb. Then, after they killed him,
Allow me to cut
the
through
duct
those
tape
words.
was not there after they killed him because of the fact that there's no blood.
There's no doubt Nagito's mouth was
I
covered
even
with
said that,
duct
I just
tape
wasn't
before he
thinking.
was beat up.
what did you say?
Stop being a moron, Kazuichi. That's what I fucking said.
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors. We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Exactly. Well, still, no, because they could have stabbed him in the leg.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Are you in elementary school or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right?
There was no blood underneath it, but that just means that the stab wound to his stomach wasn't there because he would have caught. I don't know.
The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
Yeah, but does blood splatter that much? I don't know. Look at the
Blood
legs.
on his face came from his arm wounds.
Yes, but what about the blood on his legs? That came from the leg wounds. And do you see how far from his mouth his legs are? They could have been stabbing him repeatedly in the legs to get the information from him and then put the duct tape on him and then I don't know why they would have done the rest, but...
Which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
Sure.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Really?
Perhaps the duct tape was used so he wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
He does talk a lot.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Which means it's the person with the biggest grudge against Nagito.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
Possibly.
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
Kinda.
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard.
Which is you.
If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
Sure.
Can't think of any other reason.
But who could have
Distraction.
done that?
We were all there,
When the
except for
fire
Sonia.
occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Except for Sonia.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
Killer isn't
We
one of us.
didn't start the
but that's
fire.
not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
The fire was set up. Come on, it's a domino effect of the Monokuma tile things or whatever the hell they were, cardboard cutouts. So whoever wasn't there while we were investigating, and that would be Sonia.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Yes,
Some kind of setup? Like what?
a domino effect.
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect.
Shut up,
Alrighty
Kazuichi.
then. Let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
I kind of wish it's Kazuichi's.
Damn right it is!
The reason for the fire, huh? They're right, we need to clear that up first. Okay. It's the Monokuma panels, right? That's what
The direct cause of the fire was
the Monokuma panels
the oil
toppling
lighter
over.
found at the crime scene, right?
Correct.
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably
Dang
just
it.
threw the lighter.
Nope.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way? Maybe they used invisible thread.
Sorry. Got ahead of myself there. That's gotta be it. You could use thread for a variety of tricks, but if they did use thread, where did the evidence left? There'd be evidence left. How did the killer get rid of it? Sorry.
The direct cause of the fire was
fairly certain that it's the other one.
the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Let's
kind of
just
setup?
fast forward
Did
this,
they
shall we?
use the oil? They probably just...
Based on the shape of that oil lighter,
Why
it can
can't I
stand
get clear?
upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter, it could have ignited the
got it.
curtain.
Some way?
Yes. The Monokuma panels.
Maybe they used invisible thread.
No.
There
Who's
should
gonna
have
say?
been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
No.
Or perhaps opening the door
Opening the door.
I agree with that.
Thank you, Sonia. Consent!
I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Akane started the fire.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan.
No, Sonia, you...
No, not
No.
wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels.
Dominoes!
A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right?
Yes.
It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line.
Yes.
Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Correct.
Does that mean anything?
It was a fuse
The killer
Figo.
probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
I love that song.
Domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
Domino!
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second. And
And
from
so
there,
on and so forth.
they felt like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
Yeah. So now the question is about the rest of the setup here at the back. What all that was
But
about.
wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
That's why the MP3 player was playing. Music.
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
Sure.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
Yeah, played the MP3 player music. The killer did one other thing to hide the domino effect.
I see!
They played that god-awful music.
You're talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
Yep. The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because our eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Within that darkness, a loud hymnal blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Hey, do you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really damn loud. Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nagito like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music. And as if on cue, it suddenly started. So Akane could hear it.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
Why does Akane have such good hearing?
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
It's fine, I'll open it slowly. No, that's not the problem. Seriously, it'll be fine. With those words, Akane brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. It wouldn't open. Is there something blocking the door? I can barely open it. I knew it, it's a trap! Seriously, just stop it, okay? Didn't I tell you it'll be fine? Just gotta use a little more force. What happened to opening it slowly? Akane ignored their protests, and with a mighty kick, the door flew open.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the
next
lighter.
in line. There's nothing you can do, you're the next in line.
Yeah,
When you
and
gotta
that's
go
how the warehouse
domino.
caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
But the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
Which means that Nagito set it up himself. If that door was the only entrance to the... I'm almost positive like Nagito killed himself somehow. I see, so the problem Chiaki's talking about is the killer couldn't have left.
I see!
Duh.
If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
But how?
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Yes. Huh?
You don't mean...
Yes, but if that's true, this murder...
Hajime? What do you mean?
The person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse. There's only one person who could have done that. It was Gundam! Nagito himself.
This is my answer!
What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
I love Chiaki's uncertainty on everything. I think, maybe.
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
He set up part of his own murder.
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid.
Of course it's not a suicide, unfortunately.
His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget?
I mean, if we go along that line of logic, he was holding on to the rope part of the spear, which was draped over the thing. He stabbed himself in the legs a bunch of times, stabbed himself in the arm, and then... how could he stab himself in the hand? That's the part that I don't understand. Because he can't reach with that left arm of his tied up to the pillar. He wouldn't be able to reach over. He also was holding the spear with that hand, so he wouldn't be able to reach over and stab himself in the right hand with his left hand. But then letting go of the spear was definitely what killed him, right?
Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
I mean, if Mikan were still alive, she could figure out if they were self-inflicted or not. That'd be pretty easy, too.
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
Yes.
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
He tied up his legs and his one arm.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Yeah.
Need to discuss?
Yes.
That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Expect the impossible. Like you said, it seems impossible if you think about it, but I feel like I'm overlooking something. I mean, burned rope, right? He had that hand free.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
He didn't tie both arms.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
He only tied one.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
What do you...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Yes. I don't think anybody could use their dick like that. Sorry. If our assumption that Nagito committed suicide is correct, Nagito should have tied himself up too. That's okay, right? Yes.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Damn it!
That's obviously impossible!
Motherfucker!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would...
You couldn't do much with... It'd be impossible!
How about if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
To actually tie up your...
Shut up.
No, that's wrong!
Tying yourself up is not impossible.
Hold on a sec. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were...
His arm and his legs were.
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms. The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up.
I forget which...
Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
He was always talking to his right hand. That's why they killed his right hand with the knife. The killer stabbed his right hand
That
to
was
kill
just
his hand.
burned by the fire.
Talking
He
hand.
should have been tied up before then.
And his right hand has a mind of its own, so it stabbed his legs and arm.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
There is. The proof that the burnt rope on Nagito's right arm is a trap. His right sleeve wasn't burnt.
I see!
Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree?
It's like the fire stopped right at the burnt rope.
A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural.
Sure.
That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Okay.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
Why? Just why, Akane? Why are you... Okay.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
She's not a hooker.
That's definitely wrong.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on here?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito.
Yeah.
I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. That much is obvious.
Wait a second.
Hajime, you tricked me. Give me back that Benjamin.
What? Huh? Not only did she try to charge me, now she wants the money back? What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way.
Then hurry up and spill it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
That's predatory loan right there. A way to stab yourself in your right hand using only your right hand. I mean, he had to oh, okay. I'm getting a picture of it now. Alright. Oh, I didn't read what he said there. Sorry. Yeah, he had to stab his hand through something. Through the knife, then. And what did we see that had blood on it? The Monokuma plushie. Right?
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall,
No.
could he stab his hand that way?
You have to have a lot of luck.
Is he a throwing knife expert?
No. I mean, he is the ultimate lucky
Maybe
student.
he propped the knife somehow?
Yes.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. He put it in the plushie and then stabbed his right hand through it. Ever see the butterfly
Life-size
effect?
Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Where Ashton Kutcher as a kid stabs his hand through, or hell, actually he stabs his hands through the paper. I don't know what the heck it's called. It's one of those little things that has a needle going through it, and you like put sticky notes, stab sticky notes through it
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach.
for a knife.
He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it.
And then somehow moved. I mean, I guess he like stabbed his hand onto it and then like chopped his arm to get the plushie to slide away.
If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
Yeah,
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
correct.
I see. So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
Only wishful thinking.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
What?
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
Hoping it would get destroyed in the fire, but it didn't.
Probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem.
And what's that? The spear?
The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right?
Kinda.
If you think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito.
Right.
If that's true, how is that possible?
Because he is holding onto the rope over the girder?
He can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
Then he probably took the spear first.
Nope.
And as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
No, Akane.
There is a limit to his constitution. If
Yeah.
you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Damn, Sonya. That's dirty. That's real dirty. And we'll end it there. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys next time.